Glad to have you join us again. It's Business Breakfast on iBrand Television. Let's get talking now. A conversation segment of the program. The current macroeconomic crisis facing the Nigerian economy has shown that the managers of the country's economy are battling severe storms and struggling to steady the ship. But the grim picture currently unfolding was foretold by President Bola Tinubu when he junked the petrol subsidy regime and later floated the naira. Two actions that tossed the naira into an uncontrollable spin. Tinubu said the journey of Nigeria's economy emancipation would be rough initially, but joy would come thereafter. Since then, the monetary and fiscal wings have forged an alliance to ensure tranquility and growth pervade the economic space. Now, last week, reports from the National Bureau of Statistics showed that Nigeria's headline inflation rate advanced for the 14th consecutive month by 180 basis points year-on-year to 31.7% in February 2024. It presented a new record high in over 3 decades. The report showed also that from a month-on-month perspective, headline inflation rate printed at 3.1% compared to the 2.6% recorded in the previous month of January, reflecting continued price pressure on food and core inflation sub-baskets. Now, joining me live virtually to discuss more on this development as we assess the state of the Nigerian economy is the head of FX and fixed income market at Chapel Hill, Dedham, Oladipo Ajayi. Good morning, sir. Glad to have you join me on the program today.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
Before we dive straight into the conversation, I'd like to get your thoughts on the latest inflation rate, 31.7%. Does this come as a surprise to you, or it was expected?
Well, basically, in-house, our projection is around that exact figure. And, I think we called it right because we were actually looking at the 0.7 and actually printed that exact figure. And some of our views is based on the fact that we saw the level of volatility out on FX anyway in the month of February. It was the same month where naira actually projected most when you compare it to the last month, because we saw naira move from like 8,200 levels actually came up to around 8,900. So when you look at the effect of that and you look at the rate at which prices on which were actually jumping in the months of February, of course, it makes a good sense for you to actually believe that this was the application. And that's exactly what actually played out. And if you check the inflation figure, you will notice that just after what you analyze, the month-on-month increase in the inflation actually went about 3.1%, and that's massive. And then that also shows the fact that really we actually felt the level of increase in the months of February. So it's not something that came at a surprise to us, but based on the fact that we have looked at we have in the month of February, and it correlates to the effect that figure that was fixed.
All right, now, at a time where global inflation rates are reducing, it's quite unfortunate that Nigeria's inflation rate is still skyrocketing, and this is having a ripple effect on the purchasing power of the average Nigerian. Their people no longer have the ability to maintain a 3 square meal on a daily basis. I'd like to get your thoughts now. What is the specific fundamentals that is making inflation in Nigeria to be skyrocketing despite various fiscal and monetary policy reforms to cushion this monster called inflation?
Inflationary pressure that we have to battle. I think the first angle is that let's look at it from the COVID crisis, where and I don't also forget that this is not peculiar to Nigeria. We saw the Fed actually went through the same problem as well, because of the level of liquidity that was pushed into the system. And the one thing about the economy is that Nigeria is more like a cash economy compared to a crazy economy like the US. So it's easier for you to actually quickly see the effect of monetary tightening in the US, because all you just a lot of people are not consuming, people are not buying houses at that particular point in time. So with that will help to actually bring normalcy in place. I'm not talking about the economy. You find it very difficult to quickly see the effect of the aggressive policy of the government on that side. And aside that also, we also need to look at Nigeria from the different perspective, because Nigeria is not only battling the inflation, we also battling cost push inflation. But if then the map with inflation of pounds, we have that also in the effect. And because when you look at the level of liquidity in terms of money circulation that comes to question in the bonds, I think the one of China was leaving it for where it says that it went outside over 70%, and that is massive. So that's also an area that actually throwing the inflationary pressure aspect. I'm not also seeing the liberalization of the FX market. We've seen the allocation actually studies. I think in the month of June, sometime last year, the allocation was about $2 trillion to big years of government. And also in January this year, we have about 2.1
trillion naira.
And that's something for sharing, you understand? So these are some of the liquidity that comes to the system and put pressure on the economy. And that's one of the reasons why you're seeing the monetary policy guys being more cautious than doing that. And on their part to actually improve, because that is the core responsibility of the central bank to ensure that the stability of current stability, and also at the same time to also ensure that inflation is cheap at the lowest level. And on the fiscal policy side as well, we have areas of legacy issue. And infrastructure, insecurity, some of those things are actually hampering on that side of the economy. So when you look at China's cannot access has to pay also transporting goods from where produced in the north to the urban area as skyrocketed. And there was a report where he has spoken on that 500,000 to get to 6.5 billion. You understand? So some of these things are things that are actually pushing pressure on the inflation on the supply side. And also they also forget that in the last 2-3 years we've been battling farmers have been fighting all these erosion crises, global crises as well. That actually affected them a lot. There have been a lot of flooding issues. I remember sometimes last year the government needs to quickly pass, need to quickly raise supplementary budgets to actually pushing the effect of this on farmers. In fact, some of the things we don't see that actually put pressure on the inflation, and as a result, you will continue to see the effect of that actually filtering into the inflation figure, and that's exactly what is currently happening. And that's very speaking, the monetary policy that are actually doing more, because when you look at in the last 2 months, you have seen the most of the central bank government raising it from the big bonds. It's one of the ways to actually answer that. And again, if you start seeing the dividends, if you check them where they're like, okay, now it's more like stabilizes them the gradual appreciation of the currency, both in the official media and also at the private market. So I think the monetary policy that they are doing, we just expect the fiscal policy and also to actually step up their gains. Operating infrastructure, because all these legacy infrastructure, they are actually also increasing the cost, which at the end of the day is part of the consumer. And so I think both parties need to actually ensure that there's that action that will at the end of the day
All right then. Thank you so much for that insight. Now I need to get your thoughts on this now. 2 major economic reforms that this administration has made since it got into office, which in other way has made life kind of unbearable for the average Nigerian, is the removal of fuel subsidy and the floating of the naira, the foreign exchange market. Now, while some people are calling for the federal government to rethink these reforms, the president has taken a stand and he said he's not going back on these major reforms. Now, as an economist, I'd like to get your thoughts on this. At what point under this administration do you think that Nigeria will begin to reap the benefit of this reform? Because when these reforms were actually made and they were announced, a lot of economists actually came out and they praised the president, they lauded the initiative, but then we are facing the ripple effect. And life is no longer the same way it used to be before now. So at what point are we going to begin to see the positive side, the advantage of these two major reforms?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the first thing we also need to consider the fact that those two reforms, they are very key at a particular point in time. But if you target one of them, I would say maybe the country in which respect we can say maybe in terms of actually liberalizing the markets, maybe they should have waited and ensure that they've done their housekeeping and they've done the duty they're actually doing in life. Because at the end of the day, we saw what actually happened post liberalizing the market. If you look at this pretty clearly, and the aspect where I will not be on the table of the kind of deficit, the fact that it's now when we publish our reserve figure that we continue now have big doubts around it. And before that, when you see the reserve figure that is being posted by the central, of course, we don't want to change that is our reserve as we speak until when JP Morgan change the price and the reserve and we go for the standard that is really important. And when we have ability for users to not even up to $5 billion, you understand? So it was that will show the aggressive pressure and regulate us on the currency because the country with export billions what reserve and actually liberalized market. What you expect to see is more like a loss of money invested into the market. And I think that is actually what that the government was expecting. That we don't have as much as what rejected. And like I said, that maybe in retrospecting that is taking a wrong step around that they should have waited until when they sorted the whole thing and they showed that they are big waste and for doing that.
right then. Quite an insightful one now. We know that inflation rate will likely we moderate in the next reporting month. But the big question begging for answer now is, can the Apex Bank achieve its projection of 21.4% inflation rate this year, going by unabated factors fueling rising inflationary pressure in the country?
Yeah, I think it's very possible, because if you look at what the Apex Bank projected, used to be some 20%. But when you look at the report from IMF, you see something like 18 or something that's around 90% from IMF. So the thing here that even the Apex Bank projection is to be compared to what IMF and this about Nigeria. So I think it's something that because when we start seeing the population in terms of effects, we start seeing the population overall in terms of price of the the next thing is also you find that we also start enjoying the bigger effects, and then we have this key part of fixing. We start seeing aggressive drop in inflation. So there's something that is actually very attenuated.
All right now, so beyond the hike in monetary rate, which has been the customary and hawkish stand of the CBN to tame inflation, what other strategy should the Apex Bank employ to navigate potential uncertainties and downside risks, ensure resilience and sustainability amidst evolving macroeconomic dynamics?
So, on the top of the event, I'm sure they already using almost everything in the accident.
Okay.
When you check inflation, they are currently happening with exchange, it's increasing interest rate as well. You've seen it with that they increase the about so about 25%. Everything, what they are trying to do is to actually more flexibility for the percent, and also to actually encourage people to move into investment rather than consumption. And we are seeing the positive effect of this in the market now. We've seen people are now investing rather than consuming. We see inflation whereby return on one year issue like you can get as much as 25 to 50% effective yield. The problem is security. And don't forget that this is actually risk-free. So a lot of people are people from speculating on one, people continue investing now, which is actually the end goal. And at the end of the day also, you have seen that actually start from like the 1,900 where you actually climb down to currently around 1,500 level. And if we continue in this step, this also means that we see stability and comfort. So this will kill that into the supply of this will kill that in without manufacturing companies that actually find it very difficult to actually accept effect and also actually help their production and the condition of raw material for production. So overall, central bank actually doing what they need to do, and that's one of the reasons why we are seeing the results that we're currently already, because they've been very aggressive with this.
Let's talk about our Nigerians now, because the truth is, with current inflationary pressure and other fundamentals that Nigerians are faced, that the Nigerian economy is faced with, life is really unbearable at this point in time. But how do Nigerians, your advice now as an economist, how do Nigerians begin to stay afloat in spite of all of these challenges and not letting this pressure get into them? How do we stay? Because food inflation, as we know, in the month of February is now 37.9%. A bag of rice now costs 91,000, eating towards 100,000 naira per bag. It's like getting your daily meal now is now becoming more expensive. So how do Nigerians begin to weather the storm in spite of all of these challenges?
I think the main thing is that the government actually is people anything in the media on the issue. We've seen a lot of the idea from the government where they actually think about their funding market, the market where you can actually buy goods at just like a discount price. And if you look at what actually on the week, it is the same of these good producers where you actually buy at a discount. And I think that's one of the things that will help And aside that also, you also forget that the government are also immediately complete the deliberation and implementation of the community, and this thing is taking too long a time. And then we've seen the Cardiac Labour Congress has become actually registered legislation around this when it's back, and we don't want this actually continue to expect the government to have the speed of action on this, ensure the implementation. What we should do is that this will help Nigeria on a better basis that to actually also be able to actually have capacity to actually consume some of those consumers. And another thing is also that because this one goes to Nigeria, because I don't know whether you agree with me that when the box of something that we check the price jumping almost every day, and every time you have to do what's happening, you tell you dollar rate is going up, dollar rate is going up. But when we have seen in the last week, it's rather has been appreciated in campaign telling more than a price downward. And that is the attitude of Nigeria. And what we choose that we are so not ready to actually push it off, but when it's time to also the correct way, we don't actually do that. And that is the problem we have in the country. So I think the price control board also needs to step into matter around this so that you actually forbid Nigerians from exporting Nigeria. And one of the things we have not seen in the recent months, and I think that has to stop because we are really going up, what's going up. I keep sustaining the fact that actually depreciation aggressively against the dollar, also maintaining against the dollar. There's not a change in terms of practice. Prices have been stagnant around the same level it was when dollar was 3,900, and now it is 3,500. Nobody's talking about that. And that price also needs to be reduced in that direction. So the government also needs to actually step in this and ensure implementation of the right price control around some of this. And I think these are some of the things that we need to do as we speak now, while we actually go through this as we weather.
All right, then. We'll leave it at that. Termishly not our friends, so much to talk about, but this is the much time can permit for us to have this conversation. I'd like to say a big thank you to you, Oladipo Ajayi, Head of FX and Fixed Income Market at Chapel Hill, Denham. Thank you for your time with me on the show this morning.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay.